The preview's loading, and then I'll hit start. So it's about ready to start. Going live.
Where'd you learn the martial arts?
Big surprise. Huge surprise.
I'm starting to get in a bad mood, you know? Maybe it's like a mood swing, my hormones, I don't know. You know, maybe it's my need to impose my will.
Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. Kicking it. Tonight's movie, In Hell, from 2003 with JCVD. Guest hosting with me, as always, is Dr. Venkman. Good evening, Doctor.
How's it going?
It's going good. I'm Rob, and I've got to sit there and say we've got somebody I haven't seen too much of in chat, Martial Arts Master. Love the title. I get it. Martial Arts. Ha ha ha. That's good stuff. Yes, we're going to talk about him going to prison because, you know, you don't go to prison in Russia. Russia prison comes to you. I mean, that's how these things were. I'm glad you're able to hear the theme music. That worked out well. Jay, bang. There you go. The GIMP
Whammy.
is not going to be here tonight. Yeah, whammy. I got to add that in. So that's cool. I'm glad you're able to hear that. We hail that, Dr. GIMP. Okay, so for tonight's movie, we skipped ahead. We wanted to do some DVD video releases that were becoming commonplace with some action stars, particularly JCVD, who we all are man crushing on. But really, I have to give credit to Dr. Venkman for sitting there and suggesting this. And so, Doctor, I want to start off with you by asking, what was it about this film that you think made you really go, hey, let's maybe try and take a look at this? Because I had never seen it.
I saw this a while ago back, and I've always been a fan of movies like Escape from Alcatraz, or just I watch, and I also watch what was it? The other one, JCVD, where he's locked up in prison and they have to fight. That was earlier one. That was Lion, not before Lionheart. Was it
Death Warrant?
no, Death Warrant. That's what it was. Remember that one?
Yes.
That was the same thing almost. This takes it a more serious tone on it though. It's not where he's a little older and the dude actually murdered someone that murdered his wife, and he had a hot wife in this too. So I'd be pissed too.
Yeah, I'll tell you, let's just go ahead and just jump right into it. Basically what we like to do for those of you that are relatively new is we like to just briefly talk about a particular action star, some of the movies they've been in. What we do is based on the feedback, we decide to go back and revisit it with some full commentaries and other things too. So on Kicking It, we do action movies. It's not just martial arts, but we definitely love our martial arts, and we're big fans of JCVD. So far we've done Chuck Norris, we've done Steven Seagal, right now we're doing JCVD, and we've got more to come. So yeah, let's talk about the first scene. This is different because it's in Russia. He's some kind of worker. I don't know if he's an oil rig guy. And for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
they jump right into it where his wife's at home on the phone with him, basically saying, yeah, I don't know if I like it here. I know it's tough, but I miss you. I can't wait for you to come home. They got a sweet crib. She's making dinner, and he's getting ready to come home. But while he's on the phone, he hears somebody attacking her. And so by the time he gets there, the dude's just done killed the chick. And I'm like, wow, we'll see a lot more of her, of course, later on in flashbacks and in reincarnation scenes. But there she is, just all laid out. And at first, I didn't know what to think because I was like, okay, this feels different. This is actually not what I would call the fun JCVD of Kickboxer and Bloodsport in those movies. Would you agree?
Yeah, like I said, this is a more mature feeling, like a more adult version of him. I mean, like I've usually his movies are kind of hokey or fighting. Like, it's what was that movie we watched? Hard Target, kind of like that. It's got some little hokey, but it's got no villain. This is like full like serious mode here. There wasn't any jokes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good way to describe it because this movie, when it starts off, actually, it's got this guy that I just call it, he looks like Vader. If you guys follow old wrestling, he looks like,
Yeah.
Vader, what time? It's time. It's Vader time. There's some guys beating the crap out of somebody. So you're like, I don't know who this clown is. It's in the rain, so we know we're going to see it later. Lawrence Taylor, who I believe was a defensive end in the NFL for the Giants, is narrating it, and he's a very physically imposing dude. I'm a huge Washington Redskins fan, have been since about 1981, 82, and I remember watching them break Joe Theismann's leg on TV, which a lot of people made fun of at the time. Like they had a Joe Theismann pencil sharpener on the Dave Letterman show and everything, but by and large, everything's based off the Theismann scale of gruesome leg injuries, and it was just sickening to watch it. And when he broke his leg, sacking him, that was the end of Theismann's career. I still have my Theismann jersey, but LT, what a monster, what a beast. And he's used a good effect in here as being kind of like not only the voiceover guy, but like the elder statesman in a way, which we'll talk about towards the end. But yeah, but basically, he after his wife gets killed, he sees somebody and he starts chasing after him. And what I like about it being over in Russia is they filmed it over there. There's this nice little scene where he's chasing them on foot and they're fighting on a trolley. And I didn't know if this was going to be like a martial arts film or just a fisticuff thing, but they jump through the trolley, they kind of fall through it. A motorcycle hits his arm, flips him over him, and the guy gets arrested. So you're like, wow, this is all happening really, really, really quick. Yeah, the bone was sticking out. Marshall saying, yeah. Um, I'm telling you, HCTR, thank you, martial arts master. I know you know what that means. Let's go Thursday night here. um, but what's cool about this film, and Doctor, this is something you point out to me, the guy that attacked his wife pays off the judge, lack of evidence, walks off scot-free. So Van Damme's character, in like a span of 1 minute, you see the entire scene. He's like, screw this. He grabs an officer's gun and just shoots the guy point
I
blank
know.
cold.
I know. This is like Punisher tactic right there. I don't care. I grab the gun. I'm gonna shoot him.
I'd like to say martial arts saying he married Kathy Lee Crosby, Joe Theismann. Yes, he did. And you know what?
I
Kathy Lee Crosby at the time was on a show called That's Incredible. So let me just say, you're absolutely right. This scene with him shooting him was incredible.
I mean, this guy, like his character he's playing, basically without his wife, his life's over. So he figures, I'm just gonna do what the hell I want to do anymore. You're gonna let the guy walk? No, I'm gonna shoot him, and he didn't care what happens to him.
Yeah, and that's just to me a great setup because there's nothing fancy about it. There's nothing otherworldly. It's just simply this is what you probably would do in a situation like that. Because even though the wife's only on screen for a little bit, you do get a sense that they have a very strong connection. Again, I didn't really know if this is going to be a martial arts movie. In a way, I'm going to say that it's not. Um, Bang, exactly, DDP. He bangs him like 4 or 5 times. It's not like he just shoots him and it's a headshot. I mean, he's like walking up to him, just bang, 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 taking the guy out. So he ends up in prison, and of course he gets off the bus, and he's got what I call the Billy Goat, poor old Billy, who you know is going to be the sweet meat, and this gets pretty graphic. Billy's going to
Yeah,
feel the bang many times in this thing, and they're not just going to have one or two rape scenes; they're going to have several. But
I
yeah,
did not expect it at all. When I first watched it, I was like, "Whoa, it's turning dark, really dark."
let's just back up for a minute and talk about it. Ringo Lamb worked with him a couple times. He passed away, I think, last year. Um, I'd have to go back and specifically look at the other movies he did. This movie does not feel like a Van Damme movie. It's got a different feel to it.
No, no, it doesn't. It feels like you're watching Steven Seagal, doesn't it?
In what way? Like, what do you mean?
It's not really action at first. It's more drama, and it's just like and he doesn't care. He's gonna kill the bad guy regardless.
Yeah, yeah. If you're saying he's taken on more of the role of Seagal without mouthing off, I would agree totally.
Yeah, yeah,
Here's the thing. I think Jean Claude's a very handsome man. He's very pretty. He's got a great looking physique. Just beautiful. I mean, no homo. I mean, the guy's fantastic body. He's not a big dude. He's only like he's listed at 5'10", so he's probably 5'8", 5'9". He's probably about 180, and the dude's jacked. In this movie, he's older. He looks more mature. I think he couldn't have done this movie 10, 15 years earlier to have it be believable because of what happens to him. He gets into prison. There's some fights going on and stuff. He ends up in solitary confinement. He basically, okay, this is going to sound tasteless, but I'm going to say it. He pulls an Epstein. He tries to kill himself, hanging himself. It was just so weird. I watched it, when all this stuff was
yep,
coming out about Epstein. But what happens there, he's in solitary confinement. All the shit from the sewage is running through it. He's trying to
yep.
bash his head against the wall. You're like, holy crap! It's not just hanging.
I know.
It's a little brutal. But a moth flies down, and it's kind of like a reincarnation thing. So where he starts having visions about his wife, and this is where
Oh, the whole
almost you start getting the feel of what the movie's going to be, where
he
it's
was
almost like
hearing it.
philosophical.
He when it was before he went in this. He had a picture of his wife. Remember?
Yeah, the little
So
tiny
so
one he
all
was trying to hide in his
little tiny
underwear.
picture he had that, and then he started hearing her voice, and she's laughing and all that stuff and all, and that's basically where he tried to hang himself, and he stopped hearing her voice laughing and stuff and all. So then he started banging his head. So it's like he was full on like ready to just to end it right there, but he ended up knocking himself out.
Yeah, it's I wasn't expecting that, and yeah, Marshall's Arts Master is saying in channel that he's expanding his acting chops. I totally agree, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about his look and how it changes because I think that's the whole thing. Yeah, he pulled an Epstein, or tried to anyway. Obviously, wasn't successful, but okay, it's standard prison fare. You know, there's going to be raping. You know, there's going to be gangs. You know, there's going to be fights. You know, people are going to try to break out. Okay, that's fine, but let's see how they do it. So far, so good. Lawrence Taylor is like the real badass that nobody wants to fuck with. So he's in a cell by himself and has reading privileges, and he doesn't talk. So you're like, okay, this is pretty good, and he's very intimidating on screen. But you start meeting the characters, like you meet this guy. I think it's Malachi. He's in a wheelchair. He's the guy that has all the connections. He's a part of the group. Of course, you know, Billy Goat, he's the one that's going to get ass raped. But you meet Andre, who happens to be, I think, the brother of the guy that killed Van Damme's wife. So he's in
Yep.
there, and he's the one that's doing the raping. There's a scene in there about almost halfway through the movie where he calls him, "Yo, you're going to be my favorite suka, like my bitch." He keeps messing
Yep.
with Billy about it, and you know, JC has just nothing to want to do with it. He's just kind of still hurt. You can feel it. And the thing with Van Damme is he's got that. We talked about it with Double Impact. He's got that like little brother enthusiasm, the smiles, but he portrays, I think, pain really, really good on his face, and I think it's definitely showing here at this point.
And I love the hell this has like in the fights that has like it's got to give the feeling like the longest yard. You have the gays as the cheerleaders dressed up. A throwback to that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you get all these here where yeah, you get the cross dressers, the
and
gays or whatever that
and,
yeah,
they did the same thing in his other one. I can't remember the name.
death warrant.
Death Warrant. Death Warrant. Yeah, Death Warrant. I
Hmm.
keep forgetting that name. I've watched so many of them.
Hmm.
I want to say Lockdown, but it's not Lockdown. That's Stallone.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They find out that, of course, the evil warden's having fights, and you know the big bad guy Andre's beating the shit out of people. So you know it's all going to tie together as a big final fight. But there's a scene that once I saw it, I said, okay, this just does it for me as far as making a movie. It's what I tweeted out earlier as far as, you know, hyping up for the show, trying to find people that are interested in coming on board tonight and taking a listen. And there's a scene where basically he gets forced into a fight out in the courtyard, and this is where I'm going, okay, there's grappling that goes on, but it's not like he's, you know, causing Van damage like we're used to, where you're seeing, you know, the kicks and all the fancy ass shit that we like and the pretty stuff in the faces. This is just kind of brutal. And I'm going to attempt to do something I've not yet done here on the Extreme Movie Show. I'm going to play a clip and see if it plays and successful. And if you pay attention really quick, you're going to see where he's losing the fight, but he just goes to that dark place where he just bites a chunk out of this dude's throat, and blood is gushing everywhere, and everybody just freaks the hell out and is completely lost it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button now. There's a little bit of a delay. We'll see if it pops up. I don't know if it played for you guys or not. I saw it over here on my screen. Oh, it looks like it's starting now. There's about a 15-second delay. Did you guys see that? Martial arts master saying good. Someone tell me that you saw it. Doctor, are you on that page? Oh, it did. Martial Arts Master, thank you for letting me know that. Yeah, we're trying some new things out here on that. Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
this scene, this is the movie to me. I saw this and went, holy shit, this is, I know it's a prison movie, but holy crap. You know, he walks in after this scene into the room or the cell that he's now sharing with LT's character. And LT's character, you can tell, is upset because he's like, yeah, the system beat him. It took him to this dark place, and he knows it because the LT character was there himself. Talk about the scene for a moment, Doctor, and what you thought about it.
Hold on a second. There's a black screen on there. No, if you're gonna put a photo up.
Gotcha.
Um,
Oh yeah, because the clip ended. It's this should be this one here where it's the one where he
but
bites a chunk out of the guy's neck and he's laying there bloody, and he's got the really bad wig on too with the long hair and the beard. But yeah,
but this scene, like, are you talking about? You want to talk about this scene where he's just biting the neck on it,
yeah, and
or,
just the
or
fact that that's taken him to that place.
he's the point where he just doesn't care anymore. He like remember he's still in that mindset where he's still being tormented by visions of his wife, and he's just all rage now. That's the only thing that's keeping him alive is being angry.
Yeah, the quote I
And
wrote down is that hate keeps me alive.
yeah, that's I mean that's what it that's in this kind of prison. He's supposed to be in like Russia's most violent prison there is. So like, even the wardens and like it is corrupt, and so is the guards. He had that one guard messing with him from the beginning.
Yeah, he was messing with him and all that too because well they identified Billy. They targeted him for raping. But to me, I thought, okay, maybe they might try to rape him next because, like I say, he's not a big guy. He's got a nice physique, but he is older. But compared to some
No,
of the monsters that are in there, you're like, oh, Van Damme's character might be the sweet meat. Is that how he's gonna react? I wasn't quite sure, but yeah, he loses it and he becomes the man in fights. He, slicks back his hair. He cuts his
yep.
his hair. He gets his goatee, and I'm like,
He becomes Alex with the goatee.
yeah, Alex
From
is the reference of the asshole brother or the tough brother in Double Impact, as opposed to the other guy that was the nice one, the younger brother that you liked. I liked Alex, but still, the yin and yang, the good and the bad, the dark and the light, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this was just. I was like, I know it's about halfway through the movie, and the movie had a certain tone to it, but I wasn't bored by this. I was like, okay,
No, no.
he's a tough bastard here.
We're getting like the montage where he's just going into fights. It's
Well,
like, man,
you think it's going to have a happy ending at this point, but there's nothing that gives you a glimpse of it. And what's starting to be interesting here is okay, Billy's had enough of getting his poop chute expanded, and he's
oh
tried
yeah,
running away. Yeah,
yep.
he runs away for a brief
I,
part, gets caught again. I mean, it's just you can tell this guy's
I'm
not going to make it.
yeah, and I'm like this whole thing. I'm like, dude, poor guy. They're using him to please the fighters.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and like Van Damme is at the point where he still doesn't care. He's like help me. He's like, no, I don't. It's not my problem. And like I get, and that's harsh, cold reality. Like, and maybe that guy, I don't. You don't even know what Billy's in there for. They never really said.
Well,
I
Billy
think,
did say in there that he kind of didn't really know. He was like with his girl or something, and there was a fight at a store or something, and I don't know. Next thing, one thing led to another, and all of a sudden he's here. They kind of mention it right
yeah,
when they meet really quick, but you get the
yeah,
impression that yeah, he's the young kid, young, dumb, full of cum, and just doesn't know what the hell's going on, and got caught up in something he shouldn't have, and yeah, you almost get the idea
yeah,
that he didn't make a mistake. He was just wrong place, wrong time, an American, and
yeah,
boom, you're gonna
yeah, yeah.
end up in these kinds of places. So
And
yeah.
the country is like that. I mean, these countries, you don't have the same rights as we here. So I mean, you could be in the wrong place, wrong time, and maybe you look at a cop wrong, they'll throw you in prison. They don't care.
Yeah, here in Central Florida, in the hood, in Pine Hills, we always talked about where if you walked certain sides of the street, that wasn't good. Your gangs have your little kids as runners out there watching certain things and stuff too. So you kind of had to have a street rep as far as people knowing who you are and what you're about. Now it's just really stupid and just dumb. But yeah, overseas it's only got nothing but worse from the people that I know. And I'll be going overseas probably sometime next year a little bit and doing some traveling, and I'm immediately going back on, oh, is this place better or worse? But yeah, I mean, this place, I thought the cinematography was good. Like I say, it's a kind of a dark feeling film, and what I liked about this last act it gets darker. So Billy Goat, he's tired of getting raped. And it's not like he's not tried putting up a fight. He has. He just can't stop the guys. And while Van Damme's character, hears this guy next to him yelling and moaning and screaming, and everyone sees him get raped. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. And there's a couple different groups in prison that you see, and it's pretty neat. One guy is I forget his name, but he played a character on Nip Tuck. He's actually an Italian American, but he's got a goatee and a ton of tats, and he plays like a bad dude. And I thought this guy's always fantastic. So I thought they had some really good actors in here. But where things get dark is this: the guy in wheelchair, Malachi. He and Billy start talking, and then all of a sudden you see Billy kind of like, "Hey, JCVD, just want to say thanks, for looking out for me as much as
Yeah,
you have. I'm gonna sneak out of here." And he's like, "Okay, good luck. See you on the other side or whatever." So Malachi, the wheelchair hookup guy,
yeah,
he's let him know where there's some tire cutters, chain cutters, so he can or
yeah.
bolt cutters, so he can escape. So he leaves in the middle of the night. He gets the bolt cutters, and around the corner come the guys. Malachi set his ass up. Did you want to talk about this?
Yeah, it's just crazy the whole fight with this. Where you see, is you know about the scene where Van Damme's getting thrown around but caught?
Not yet. We're not quite there yet. We're talking about Billy though, where he gets caught.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. Billy, you see him during the movie. This guy's in a wheelchair after the
Yeah,
last one.
yeah,
And they just told, and he's sit there, forced to bend over. The
yeah,
scene,
yeah.
and the guards hold him, and you just see, JCVD and I think his name is Lawrence.
I just call him LT. Yeah,
LT, yeah, yeah. You see them, and they're in the cell, and they're just watching because they can't do anything. They just hear it, and then like as you know, yeah. So basically, they can hear it, and they can't see in the cell, but they know what's going on in there. The next thing you see him like he's in a wheelchair in his bed, and he's got like some salve stuff, and he's just trying to like he's got cuts. Basically, the kid, this guy, he can't walk anymore
yeah.
because this dude looked like Crusher Creel, from comics. He's like 6'5" or like this guy is just totally ripped. He's just like it should be like your yeah. I don't think if this one you're talking about it would be like Vader. I'd say he'd be more like Kane.
Well,
Oh,
the thing is, they had brought in a big dude from another prison to beat up on all that, and that's something we're going to see here in a moment. But basically, you're not quite
or,
sure if this is going to end up with just one big fight, a whimper. Of course, it's a prison, so nothing says prison like escapes. Check the box on that. So the next thing basically is going to be about the riot. So, you get a scene where Van Damme's basically saying, "Hey, look, I don't want to fight anymore. I'm stronger than all that." So they make an example of him. They hang him out in the courtyard for a while. And then all the different groups see that. And then they are like, wait a minute, he's right. Let's all not fight each other. Let's all refuse to do that. So that way they can't beat us. They can't make money. And so you see the solidarity starting to form about him. And with Malachi setting up Billy, this is where the shit starts getting real because LT's just had a few lines, not said too much. He wants his peace and quiet. He wants to be left alone. He reads his books and he writes. He's been in the cell for like 20 something years. Um, it gets pretty graphic because about the only backstory you get when things start perking up is Malachi. Yeah, they'll set him up as martial arts master is saying in there. They'll set him up to catch him later routine. Um, Remember that dude from Tango and Cash with the chin of the week? Wow, somebody actually watched the Chin of the Weeks. Thank you, Marshall. It's not just the Timothy Dalton fan club that said they did. That's on hiatus. I still plan on doing it. There's a lot of chins out there. I've just been doing these. But yeah, there's great, friggin' fantastic scene that it just shit starts getting real where LT goes up to Malachi, and Malachi's like, "Well, here you go," and he hands him some lighter fluid, and he hands LT hands him some money, and he goes, "Well, what's that for?" And he goes, "It's for you." And Malachi staring was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "You set Billy up. I can't believe
yeah,
you, man. The only thing that you had." And while he's talking to him, Malachi's like, "Man, I've got special medicine. I need it." And he does. It's legit. The guy's sincere about it. But LT is so distraught that instead of having his peace and quiet, we're going to read his friggin' books and write in his diary, he's pouring this lighter fluid all over him, and it just sets him on friggin' fire. Oh, the scene is fantastic. He's screaming in the wheelchair on fire. He falls out and he's crawling away. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is good. And
yeah.
LT looks like a friggin' maniac in it. This is just
You know,
perfect.
the scene before this, they wanted JCVD to fight, but he wouldn't fight.
That's right.
Yeah, so then they're upset, and then so this leads to this thing where it's like he sets the dude on fire. He like straps the guy to like the. I don't know if he was he handcuffed or did he zip tie him?
I think he just zip tied him or something, but he was in his wheelchair, and I thought he was trying to wheel back and go away from it. Yeah, but yeah,
So
you see him get crispy.
yeah, he's just pouring a lighter fluid on the guy's like what this guy's pissed off. He's like, "What do you think you're gonna do, huh?"
Bang, more like burnt.
Extra crispy fried chicken here.
Yeah, well, here's the thing where you
Uh,
basically get LT's character. He basically tells him, hey, look, I've written down and documented all the stuff that's going on because people talk too much. And you see the little backstory of how people made fun of him when he was a boy going to school, and how the headmaster of the school that LT was at when he was a child was like sexually abusing him, and he burned him, and so that's how he got his nickname of 451,
yeah,
like Fahrenheit 451 with books. That's
yeah,
the
yep,
temperature
yep.
everything burns at. So he hands him to him, and he says, look, here's the book. This has all the information. If you can get out of here alive, somebody out there might care. But this is my home, and I'm going to stay. And basically, there had to have been one more fight that was coming, and the big badass dude that's brought out. Because there's a bonus, there's almost a gimp in here, but the big badass dude you were talking about that they brought in to beat the shit out of everybody is the guy who fights. And so when they stand up to each other, you see Van Damme 5'10", you see other guy, and you're like, holy shit, this guy's about 250. He's a friggin' rock. His chest probably 60, 65 inches. The dude is just all beefcake, shaved head. What a mean motherfucker. And Van Damme's getting his ass beat. But I paused it on this scene here where I'm like, this is what I mean. It wasn't really a martial arts thing. It's a brutal fight, but there's some good grappling going on here there too. And I know Van Damme likes to coordinate his fights, but if you can see the picture now, which I think you can, you see how Van Damme's got his right leg hooked on the guy's neck, and he had him in an arm bar, but the other guy's grabbing his arm because you don't want that arm to get straight. And I'm not a MMA pro, I don't profess to be, but I love fighting and all that stuff, and I coach sports, so I'm really interested in that stuff. I thought this was a very good fight because this other dude would whip JCVD's ass, and it pretty much looks
Right.
like it. Oh my
This
goodness.
is like this is like Rocky and Dolph Lundgren.
Oh
But
yeah,
if Dolph Lundgren wasn't like a wimp,
yeah. So
because
basically, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say they basically let this guy go loose on him, like and like I this guy, like I said, he's like 6'7" almost,
Yeah, in
and
real life.
he's muscular,
Yeah,
and he's fast,
yeah,
and it's like he's not one of those like Big Show where he's slow and punches and he misses. Are they giant? No, this guy is like crazy.
yeah.
But this whole fight scene now, and it's just he's still, or I was gonna keep saying it's not still on, but JCVD is trying to break his arm in armbar, and the
Yep.
guy just picks him right off.
Yeah, slams him down. Yeah, so basically, I mean, this is pretty much all the stuff is happening really quick at the end of the movie, and basically you end up seeing the scene where they have the fight. There ends up being a riot. He gets the book. He goes to sneak out, and with LT's help, the crooked guard comes up and tries to stop him, but JCVD
Yeah,
drops the car on the guy's leg. He's like, "Oops, sorry for the accident." And LT's like, "No, this is my home. I'm gonna stay here."
Do you remember he broke the guy's arm, and the guy pulls out a knife to stab him, and JCVD like dodges, so the guy stabs another guard, and he uses that guy's the other guy's they got stabbed. He uses that guy's head, the headbutt this big dude's head, and he throws him into the pool. Like this is like ultimate JCVD right here.
Yeah, this is fun stuff. Martial arts master saying, "Hey, has that dude done anything else?" The big shaved head guy we're talking about, I actually think has. I don't know him, but when I looked him up and read about him, it seemed like he's almost like a nice guy, and he's done some stuff in a couple of shows that I don't watch or anything. But he definitely has a little bit of a presence, and his look alone, you would think, commands some respect. Where he's done a few things, but I forget his name actor-wise. But if you check him out, he's definitely been in a few things. Um, yeah, the one thing I wanted to mention right here is because actually, pretty much almost at the end of the movie, we've got one or two big scenes to talk about, but no less than three times I think it is he's visited by this moth, flickering through a light, and he gets like a vision of his wife, or when he's looking at his picture, and he has flashbacks when they were having fun and swimming in a pool and just being in love, those sorts of things. And so what it is, it's basically almost like a dark philosophical thing. He loses his kind of humanity, and the whole idea is that if he lost his humanity, even though that allowed him to fight, he's going to forget his wife because that's not who he is. So he kind of gets his humanity back here, even though he struggles with this fight. And at the end, with going to escape, he ends up getting to wear the uniform of the main prison guard, and so he's like, "Hey, this is the main prison guard's car. I think it's like a Beamer or something. No one's going to look at you because they don't look at you in Russia. You should just be able to drive out." And it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of an interesting idea. And LT's like, no, I'm staying back. So he goes to drive out. He's got the book. He's got all that. There's a riot going on. There was supposed to have actually been a fight with him and the big goony guy that I called Vader, but this was kind of silly. He comes out. They release him. He's their gimp. He's even bigger than this goon, and he's beating the shit out of him, but he recognizes that he's the guy that was pounding in the cell next to him while he was in solitary. So yeah, I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of hokey. What he goes ape shit and they shoot him down, but everyone starts rioting and going crazy. It's like, yeah, whatever. But the scene is LT. He goes back. You think that's pretty much all you're going to see him, where he's going to kill somebody. He walks right into the general's room where they were
Oh,
doing all the bets. He's got a pair of wire cutters with him. And he's like, General. And General's like, I'll get you out of here. Leave me alone. Da, da, da. He's like, you talk too much. He cuts his fucking tongue out, and you just see him blood all
yep,
over him
yep.
when people come in. I was like, holy shit, LT. You burned somebody and you cut his friggin' tongue out. I got to tell you, I was scared. What did you think?
I thought I knew it was coming because like he hated the warden, and
Yeah.
he's like sick of this crap and all. He was this guy's been bullied since he was little,
Yeah.
and then this guy sets a dude on fire, doesn't even blink. Just kind of walks away, no grin or nothing, emotionless. So then he's he hates he hates the warden because he knows the warden's corrupt. He
Yeah.
wants this all to end. So yeah, and meanwhile, like you got JCB in a guard uniform escaping. So
Yeah, and he manages to go out, so you watch him drive through, and people aren't looking at him. They just kind of like nod or salute or whatever, and open up the gates, and he makes it through them, and they show him looking at the book, and he takes his little picture that he has of his wife, puts it there, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. So in closing,
but
my final thoughts basically was one, I thought I thought LT did better than expected. They didn't overuse him. He didn't talk too much. They just used his presence. I
yeah,
felt like he was a lot tougher than JCVD, who I thought had a great. I thought he acted well in here. I thought this was a great film. And the analogy I will use is that when we talked about Steven Seagal, the first movie that we talked about, um, not Out for Justice, not Marked for Death, not Hard to Kill, but the
above the
first
law,
one, which one?
above the law.
Above the Law. I liked it, and I think it's his best film in that it's a film that has martial arts in it, even though Out for Justice is probably more
Mm-hmm,
entertaining. Whereas you thought it was kind of slow, and I
mm-hmm.
was like, no, it's a film that just has him in it. I felt the same way about JCVD in here. This is, I think, the best that I've seen him act in the
Yeah,
films I've seen.
I can understand that. Yeah, you want more a little more action.
Yeah,
But man, wait, when you get just like above the law, you get to the end. That's where the action is.
yeah,
That's where So if you stick with it, like hey, like, you actually are rewarded.
yeah,
So
yeah. Now, so what kind of final thoughts did you have about it? I mean,
I
good,
just want to
bad, or
point
just
out
what
that
did you want? What do you want people to know about it?
I mean this movie. It's like I said, it's more mature. It's just where he's actually trying to act. He's not where he's like just being joking around. Hey, I'm the Cajun guy, or anything like that. He's obviously this is a fake story. No one's gonna go to prison and become like a
Where'd you
underground
learn the martial
fighting
arts?
and when
Big
most
surprise.
times you die.
Huge surprise.
There's no happy endings.
I'm
Right.
starting to get in a bad
So
mood,
that they threw
Yeah. On which one? I didn't hear that. Oh, I could see that. Yeah, he's one of those big bastards that you're like, this guy would just crush you. Yeah. Yeah, and he did it good. He was intimidating the way they shot him. Yeah, that's one thing I can't talk about enough. How good this film I thought actually looks. I mean, it's prison fare. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. It's legit. It's a very good film. I was surprised for it, especially for like a video on demand or direct to DVD or whatever it was. I was surprised for it. I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm glad you recommended it. Right. Oh, he had a massive coke problem, or I don't know if he still does, but yeah, for him, yeah, for JCVD, big time coke problem.
Yeah, I mean, and plus when these guys get up in their age, a lot of times they don't stay in movies. They'll go straight to DVD movies. They won't be on the theater. It happened to Stallone for a while. Dolph Lundgren's been doing this. He made a career out of just doing the straight to DVD movies. But then he made a appearance back on Arrow on
Oh,
TV.
just pause for a second. They said they couldn't hear you for a little bit, so I don't know if you blinked out. Talk about the cocaine with JCVD. They say they can just hear me.
Oh, the cocaine part. Um, he this guy, he's just like any other movie. I mean, he when he started doing all that crap, he just went into doing straight to DVD movies. And there's usually nothing wrong with straight to DVD movies, but I mean, he could have been a much bigger star if he would have been doing the cocaine.
Yeah.
If he would have stayed on, you'd see more stuff, because I think a lot of people, I don't know when did he go straight on the DVD? Was it right after? Was it after Street Fighter?
I'm not quite sure. This was 2003. He did the hockey movie, which is actually pretty popular, and he did the Quest in '96, which I think he directed. So somewhere in that
Mm.
time frame, as we got into the late '90s, VHSs were like $4 or $5 a pop, and then
Yeah,
DVD was the big thing, and that was really lucrative. The second market that people would buy it, sometimes almost more so with certain things. So I think they
yeah,
realized the economics of it, and so someone like him, there wasn't a lot of action stuff. Good fit for it.
but yeah, but I mean, he could have been a much bigger star if he would have cut that crap out earlier.
Well, I think if you looked up anything about him, he will tell you that I don't know if it was Canada, but somebody wanted to sign him to like a three-pitcher deal, like 15 million or whatever, and he wanted more, some big huge number because most stores were
Yeah,
starting to get 15, 20 million, but he declined it. Think he could get more, never did, and I think that's when he said, "Okay, I got to take what I can get," and that's it. So at
yeah,
that point, being unreliable with the
because
coke and whatnot, he wasn't going to get too much more.
so yeah, I mean, I a lot of people look at these actors when they're older like this. If they're like, or they're going straight. I've never seen this in the theaters. I don't this. I think this might have been straight to DVD.
Yeah.
I remember hearing it in the theaters at all. Maybe it was overseas, but man, this like you gotta take a chance. My whole point is you gotta take a chance when you see an actor, even though he's going straight to DVD. Even Dolph Lundgren this day, he may have some corny movies, but some of his movies are like good. Um, even look at even who else was doing straight to DVD movies? Uh,
Well,
I don't know,
Seagal was getting ready to pretty much at this point.
Seagal, yeah, but I
Yeah, he
mean,
was he was starting. Yeah, and
but
I think too that what you're talking about is legit. I mean, and here's the thing: you suggested this movie. I didn't know anything about it. I was like, yeah, I don't know. It's there was always a stigma that if it went straight to DVD, it was automatically going to suck. But what we're saying here on the Extreme Movie Show is that's not necessarily true, and so that's why we do these brief reviews. We just talk about what we liked about it, what we thought was neat, what were some good scenes. Obviously, a lot of times people in the comment section remember certain things and share that, and that's kind of neat too. So we appreciate the fact that we've had some people show up. As martial arts master is obviously very involved. Jay, as always. Great to see you in here too. Anybody that's going to be listening here soon, that's great. I'm glad that the stream went a bit better too. There's one or two little snafus. We're working on that behind the scenes. So that's getting better. I will say that we're going to go ahead and close up shop here for the evening. But before we do, stay tuned. We're going to have a stream here for our 8 o'clock show. The 7 o'clock one's just a warm up hype show. We're the pre-fight. We like to steal the show like on the pay-per-views. So we're going to be talking about some stuff here at 8. Dr. Venkman, you got any last comments or thoughts before we close for the night?
I just want to ask you, did this pass the bank test?
Oh yeah, this clearly did. This is an extreme movie. I like it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, guys, for Doctor, for myself, and for Englentine and Spirit, who may be with us on the next stream here, he's running a little bit behind. He's got some family things he's taking care of. He says hello. He wanted to pop in and let everybody know that he appreciates all the support he's getting over on his channels and everything too with some of the stuff he's been going through. But yeah, stay tuned and be ready for another snacking it. Be ready for another possible show that we're going to be dropping differently. But we're going to put up another link here shortly for our typical 8 o'clock main show. 8
All
p.m.
right.
Yeah, Martial Arts Master, we're going to cut off of here. 8 o'clock's our typical show, and then we do on here. This is just a hype one. We like to do the Doctor and I covering action stuff, and he sometimes comes in. So, yeah, surprise topic. It's somebody's birthday today. All right, as always, Doctor, I'd like to sit there and tell you and remind you about one thing.
And I want you to say, as always, stay
Stay extreme.
ex-
Extreme.
extreme.
Good night, guys.